Well, hello and welcome to our Subconscious Speaks. My name's Don Robert, and together with my amazing and talented award-winning partner,
Teen Orlando.
together we are,
Teen Orlando.
and Dawn. That just doesn't get old. Not for me and you, at least.
Oh, of course not.
So, uh, so Tina and I got to go out on the town last night.
We did.
Got
We
to see the
did.
amazing Drew Orlando in
Mhm.
action with his entire cast. What a great show! What a great night! Laughed my butt off. Just what the doctor ordered for
Yeah.
dealing with a month
Hmm.
of PTSD type um,
It was nice.
situations. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering how are you like, because just to remind everybody, if you didn't see the episode where we talked about this, it's there. It's right back there. Uh, Tina actually was close enough to the fires that during the opening night of Hotbed Hotel, her son,
Hmm.
she had to leave at intermission to go literally pack and evacuate. Um,
Yeah.
so how was it for you? Did you notice any kind of like PTS from being the last time you were in that theater? Literally, we were all staring at, watch duty and trying to figure out what to do.
Right.
You
Yeah,
made the call.
yeah. The funny thing is during intermission, I felt my phone vibrate and I thought maybe I should, oh no, I don't need to check if there's no fires. Which is just, that learned response at that point was like, oh, do I need to check? No, I don't need to check my phone. Like he's right here. There's the only reason why I would have to check my phone.
Mm,
Um, so there was that. Um, it's interesting because it's I don't feel it there, but I do feel it when I hear the sirens now. And I hear a lot of sirens over here.
yeah, unfortunately, Tina lives right in the heart of the San Fernando Valley, where there's a lot of first response
Yeah.
activity. uh,
Yeah. There's
that is not even if it's not fire related, it still
yeah.
conjures up.
Yeah, there's a lot of sirens. I have noticed that when I do hear them, I do, have that, oh, do I need to check an app? Do I no, it's okay, it's fine.
Talk about a
And those
trigger. Yeesh.
yeah, yeah, they're just learned responses at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but I hear a lot of people talking about the amount of angst that they experience. Um, and it's interesting to me because their words are always, I really have dot 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 anxiety, PTSD, whatever. um that's really not a great idea to be saying it that way. I mean, at that point you're claiming it as part of who
You're
you
affirming
are.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and instead of saying, right now I feel anxious, or I feel anxious about the sirens, because then at least you're giving yourself the opportunity to label it and identify it, and then be able to acknowledge what's actually going on. Like there's a reason why that's happening. Um, so I think that if people really start paying attention to the way they're speaking about themselves, it might help a little bit to dissipate some of that heightened awareness that we're all experiencing.
Yeah, I would agree. It's funny when you say that about this specific topic. It's like that's advice for everything.
Yeah,
Be
well.
mindful of what you say
Hmm.
first to yourself, because you're
Hmm.
you're the one that's listening the most.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then as you speak it to the universe.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I think we really need to be mindful. It's okay. I think we live in a world where people think that they need to answer instantly. It's okay. Take your time. Slow movements are usually really confident movements.
mm,
So if you mimic that in, your daily activities, it might actually help for you to realize what you're you're self-diagnosing and giving yourself, because that's what you're doing. You're diagnosing yourself and you're giving yourself even more
Yeah.
negatives, you know.
Yeah.
But the
So
show was wonderful.
the show was great. I laughed my butt off. I
Hmm.
thoroughly enjoyed it, and
Hmm.
everyone, including Drew, of course, was
Hmm.
just like over the top. So much. I don't want to say better because they were great in the first show, but
Hmm.
just really stepped into their characters and really brought it to a bigger life because it is a
Hmm.
farce. So it's, over the top behavior and physical, the
Hmm.
physical humor I thought was like next level this time.
Hmm.
It's just hilarious.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I always see opening and closing, because then I can see, the
Hmm.
difference. And not that it's not great on opening night. It's fabulous on
Right.
opening night. But there's something about closing night where it just is really quite special.
Yes, of course.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
It's
yes, it
like you
was.
leave it all on the field, so to speak. Leave it all on
Mhm.
the stage. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to get him out of that theater once he's in there. He's like, there's
So
a
they have
hockey
all
player
those
that says they
other
would.
things they announced. Like, what is he going to be auditioning or taking part of anything else that's being produced this year? I would assume we'll be back
Hmm.
there again soon.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he is going to audition for a few other things. Um, I'm not quite sure what the names of them all are. There's
Okay,
two or three that's on his list. So, and they have asked him to, come and be a part of that theater group, and
nice.
which is good for him because he loves that stuff. So,
Yeah,
yes, he just loves it.
I gotta say it's kicking up my old acting juices again,
Mm-hmm.
but I do not have the time to dedicate to, when
Mm-hmm.
when I think about the some of the roles that would be so much fun to play, it's just a lot
Mm-hmm.
of line memorization, which is it's
Mm-hmm.
not something I ever enjoyed. I think it's
Right.
because I have a little bit of PTS after the first role I ever got was the lead, and you can't take it with you. And I had over 400 lines I had to memorize, and it was so much,
Yeah,
so
it's a
much,
lot.
so
It's
much.
a lot.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a
yeah.
lot. But he loves it, and yeah, so there'll be something else. Um, there'll be a couple of more this year.
Okay,
He's got some things going, so it's good for him.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
what he loves.
right
But
on.
yeah, yeah. So Caneo Valley,
Players.
um, Caneo Valley players, their theater,
Theater.
very good. Yes, yes.
And what a lovely group and people, and it's just such a wonderful vibe. It's
Hmm.
not pretentious at all, and it's 100% not profit. Like it's just such a
They're all
cool,
volunteers.
huh?
They're all volunteers there.
Yeah, that blew me away when I read that. I was like,
Hmm.
what?
Hmm.
How's that possible? And then the tickets are super affordable, and like
Hmm. It's a good time.
it's
You
a
know what? I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I know that upcoming the next production for Caneo Valley is Anastasia, the musical. So
Probably gonna pass
um,
on that one.
yeah, I'm not a bit. I mean, there's a few
I
musicals
don't
that I
mind.
like.
I don't mind musicals. Don't get me wrong.
There are a few that I like, but yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll wait. We'll
But if
we'll
he's
wait.
in it, it'd be
He's
hard to
not
keep
in
me.
Anastasia. He didn't
Yeah.
audition for
All
Anastasia,
right.
but they did ask him to, and he's it's been a lot. So he's waiting and seeing. There's one other one that's on the immediate radar, and then there's one in the summer that he definitely wants to audition for. So we will keep you posted.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. All right. So you go back to the scene of the crime, so to speak, which is, we're in that building and the alert comes out and you make the call. So what's been going on with you in your process over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I really think that the amount of news stories are really hard to ignore.
Hmm.
Um, I think a lot of people are just walking around numb and overloaded. Um, Me included. I mean, it's taking me 2.5 hours to get 20 miles from my house. So what are you doing in that time? Like,
Yeah.
well, you're going to listen to the news because it's, 6 or 7 a.m. Like, you got to catch up on the world because right now there's no telling on what's going on in the world. So you do got to pay some attention, but you got to make sure you don't get sucked in, right? So it's a little difficult. I mean, as we speak, there are protesters blocking a freeway right now in downtown Los Angeles. Like, there's tragedies all over the place. There's all these really negative, sad things going on. I think that you need to really reach for things that don't add to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you can take the opportunity to watch something funny, listen to, something enjoyable, music, whatever, that's not negative, sad, angry,
Mm.
you know, like you're going to have to watch a few comedies
Yeah.
because the amount of negative versus positive that's being showed or shown in your face constantly is a
Mhm.
lot, and I really think that's going to cause some strife, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and then on top of our month that we had here in California, then you've got what's happening in the United States,
Right.
and um, how people are dealing with that is a whole nother conversation.
Right. I mean, my heart goes out to those people in DC, those people in Philadelphia. Um, those are tragedies that don't need to happen.
Something doesn't feel right about this year. Something's seriously
January
wrong.
has been a year all by itself.
Yeah, right.
There's right. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, it's not a political statement in any way. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, you've got so much stuff that's bigger than politics. It's bigger than, that stuff. There's just so much stuff going on.
Hmm.
Fires and, storms and snow in Florida. And I mean,
Snow and
the
Ventura.
snow in Ventura, snow in Florida. There's fires. California's on fire. There's massive storm coming. Like, there's just so much going on that I think that right now is the ideal moment to really reach for something better. Whatever that is that makes you happy, whatever that is that makes you laugh, whatever gives you peace or joy, you need to really invest in that right now.
Lean
Otherwise,
into the positive. Yeah.
try and find the positive mantras, whatever you can do. Um, because it there's a lot of negative out there. It's really bad.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a battle of the will of the brain going on, right? Where we talked
Absolutely.
about this in the negative bias episode where like I did my normal Saturday night, stayed up a little late, because
Hmm.
I'm a rebel, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sleep in. I'm good for a good 7 hours usually every
Hmm.
night. That's what I figured out works for me. And so I was gonna get 8.5 hours. I set an alarm actually. I usually don't set an alarm, but I wanted to set an alarm because I did have a client earlier today, and then today being
Hmm.
Sunday, we're because of the play superseded the recording of the episode yesterday. So it's like not a full work day, but I needed to be up and accountable to myself and prepared.
Hmm.
And I had some prep work to do for the client. And so I was just like 6 hours into my expected 8.5, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eyes were open, wide awake, and I'm like,
Right.
I asked, "Hey Siri, what time is it?" It's 8:05, and I was like, "Oh man." because now my brain is off to the races,
Hmm.
and it just
Right.
always seems to. And I had the most. I got it. Sorry, can you hear that?
Mhm. Just a little
Because
bit.
I have all the home pods on a what do they call it? Like a
Do not disturb.
within my router app, I can
Yeah.
create groups and I turn
Hmm.
them all off so she can't get to the internet. So she's like doesn't know what to do with herself.
Well,
But she still
hmm.
responds to me. God bless her. Good girl. Yeah.
She doesn't
Uh
want you to feel alone, right?
yeah.
You're
Uh
talking to yourself.
just lost my train of thought.
Sleep.
Yeah. Um, so I've decided that when I'm in that space, like trying to fight going back to sleep for an hour and a half just doesn't make any sense. I just get up.
Mm.
Just get up and do the positive things. Oh, here's what I wanted to share with you. So one of the things I've done besides everything that we've been talking about, and like I've been active, like physically active, I've been eating
Hmm.
healthy, I've been moving my body. When it's nice enough out and the air app says it's okay, I walk outside because a little vitamin D because the sun has been out. The sun's out today,
Hmm.
but it's freaking cold.
It's
Uh,
warm here.
well, today it's warmer, but
Yeah.
it's yeah. Um, so I actually I took our own advice and I asked for help. And I had
Mm.
a hypnotherapy session with our beloved Cheryl O'Neill,
Mm.
and boy, oh boy, that was just exactly what I needed. It was so powerful, and God, she said something. She said so many things, and I better write this down because I keep forgetting what I want to say to you about what was said. Jeez Louise. Talk about something, Tina. I'm having a mental block today for some
Okay.
reason. This is going to
Well,
be
I
an
mean,
interesting episode.
it's fine. I mean, we can go back to
Sleep. Yes, there
sleep.
it is.
Yes.
Did you know? Because I love when she like because we talked for like the cognitive portion of our session. We talked for like an
Hmm.
hour and
Hmm.
then did hypnosis. And she said, I love when she says, well, Kappas. And so she's referring to Dr. John Kappas, not
Of
his
course.
son George, who's currently the director of HMI,
Of
but
course.
Kappas was her mentor.
Hmm. I know.
So
I
grand
love it when
mentor. Yeah.
yeah.
And she said, because I was talking about when to listen, because she gave me a couple of recordings, a recording of our session, and then a calming, relaxing, just general, kind of like what you did for everybody. And
Hmm.
she said something that I had never heard by her or anybody else. That she said, Kappas said that the first 30 minutes when you wake up, you're
Hmm.
still venting. You're still in the venting stage, and that's not a great time to the subconscious is not open to receiving new information. It's still venting out that
Hmm.
which came up through the night in our
Hmm.
dreams. So, oh, you're
Hmm.
you're shaking your head like you know this for like this is information that you've had in your mind.
Now, this is information she told me only because I had an interesting conversation with her about an experience where I was waking up angry and I couldn't
Ah,
figure out why. Um, and it's common if you're when you wake up and you're kind of groggy,
mm-hmm.
like that's you're still venting out. And
Yeah.
I would just it wasn't angry. I was just having really weird negative thoughts, and they didn't have anything to do with like the day. It was like from weeks prior. I'm like, what is this? It was very strange. So this is when that's why I know this statement from sure.
I thought maybe for a second I had information that you didn't have. Damn
Try again.
it.
I
uh
love Cheryl though.
yeah, who doesn't?
Well,
Yeah.
I yeah.
You
Um
yeah. So anyway, so I've changed my morning routine now.
okay.
She's like, have coffee, have breakfast, let it out, let it all kind of go out, and then so it's just it's an interesting shift to go from still in agreement that the 30 minutes before bed is still optimal. Um,
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
It's just very interesting it's, it just blows me away the experiences and the knowledge that woman has collected over the past
Hmm.
however many decades of, you know,
Hmm.
being a student and being mentored by John Kappas,
Right.
Dr. John Kappas. It's just, you hear her refer to Kapasinian this or that, but it's more of an institution that I hear her referring to,
Hmm.
not the man. Um, you know,
Right.
it just
Whom she, pushed on for 2 years as a mentee, constantly asking him questions.
mm,
Mm, yeah. Because I said this to her. I'm like, how do you have all this? Like, how do you have all this amazing information? Um, at one point. So she's
and
amazing. She's got such valuable information.
you know what I don't know? Dr. John, emo or fizz? I'm
Emo.
assuming
Hi, Emo.
emo. Yeah. High, intellectual
Hi,
high,
Emo.
like
Yes.
80.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. Big emo.
I've got one of those as my first mentees when I returned to HMI is came right out and just warned me.
Thank you for the warning.
Yeah. Just so you know, I'm one of those. I'm a high emo. I've been told I'm a intellectual. Oh boy. Love you, Darren, if you're listening. But he's brilliant.
I was just getting ready to say the
He's
emos,
on
they're
track
they're
to,
brilliant.
it's so funny when he first started working with me, he's like, wasn't really interested in the awards and he thought he wasn't even going to be able to get honors. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Mm.
But then, he got caught up. It's easy to get called fall behind in your studies, right?
Hmm.
With so much to do and cover and long story short, he reported to me the other day that he's on track to winning all the awards. And he talked to us because I said you might want to check in with your counselor and just see how you're doing to get
Right.
a real assessment of where you're at.
Hmm.
And so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, it's him. I'm just the
Well,
tour guide.
congratulations to him.
Yeah. Congratulations to you, sir. Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's pretty
Um,
cool. As we know,
hmm.
quite the honor.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so these are the things we are talking about, the things that people need to focus on. I don't know if you can hear the sirens right now, but they're constantly going. Um, whether it's your school and get involved or find things that bring you joy or challenge you in a positive and healthy way to kind of dampen down the negativity that is truly swirling around everybody.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be in California to be affected by stuff. You don't have to
No,
be, you know, Washington, Philadelphia, Florida, like Chicago. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're a human being that has feelings, you're affected. And, you know, sometimes, we all get sucked into the news if we start watching it. Like
I
it's
don't.
a nat. You don't ever.
No.
Oh.
I when I turn my TV on, when I'm seeking entertainment at the end of the day or in the night, and it defaults to Spectrum News,
Mhm.
I'll listen for maybe 15 seconds just to see, just because curiosity of what are we talking about? Because they do have some interesting segments in there. It's not all doom and gloom. But
Mhm.
I never, ever turn on ABC or NBC or CBS or Fox or
Yeah.
any of the news outlets because I just know it's all bad. There's nothing that's going to help me by now. Some might say, "Oh, well, so you live with your head in the sand on?" Well, no. There's plenty other ways to get information than watching a produced, you know, episode of the
Mhm.
news to
Mhm.
catch
Yeah.
eyeballs, right?
Right. Right. I
Um,
mean, I agree with you. Absolutely. I don't have that much discipline. And I think and for some people, like I got to get in the car and I got to drive all the way to the other side of LA. I got to know what's going
That's
on.
what Prince is for. Come on. You
Yes,
listening to that
absolutely.
garbage? Oh my God.
Absolutely. No, no, no. I'm not listening to it while I'm driving there, but I
All
do
right.
look in the morning. I look to see what's going on in the world, just so that I'm prepared. Like, what happens if
Okay.
blah, blah, blah,
Fair.
right? So, I think we have to acknowledge that. But if you're sitting and watching, and I have been guilty of it many times in my life, if I will get just sucked in and I'm just like overwhelmed with the information that I'm watching, I notice how it deregulates me,
Hmm.
my emotional state, my physical state. It will deregulate me because I will get so sucked in.
Right.
So, I mean, there are people that this happens for and they don't even realize why they're upset. Well,
Yeah.
you have to know what you're looking at. Like, okay, I know
Mhm.
what I'm looking at. I know it's going to affect me, but I also need to know what's going on in the world. I live in this world, right? You can't ignore that, but
That's
you
what
have to.
Facebook's for.
My Facebook only has Prince pictures and Prince people.
I've got a smattering of people on all sides of the aisle that I'm friends with that yeah, are
And I get,
heavy posters of what's going on in the world and opinions. Yeah.
well, I mean, it could be social media could be a very negative place. And if I get on Facebook, I've got like, 5, 10 people that I'll see something from, but the rest is all just Prince people, which I love.
That's
My
hilarious.
purple army
Yeah.
there. Um, you know, it brings us all joy. Great. That's wonderful.
My algorithm is strong with the Florida Panthers, absolutely. And all the
See?
people that I'm connected to through that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, the amount of, you know, sadness and loss and um, worry and stress and all of those things that are going on, in the world, whether you live in Los Angeles or anywhere else, there's a lot. So we really have to dig in at this point and at least make a commitment to be aware of the amount of information you're taking in and to try and find something more positive to focus on. That doesn't mean sit down and watch your murder stories at night. That's going to compound it, by the way. I know it's an escape for a lot of people, but murder stories on top of negative news is not really a good choice. Sorry. Sorry.
I prefer the lighthearted this because there are, this show that I'm absolutely adoring and loving is called Castle. Have I talked
Yeah.
about this before?
Yes, I've watched Castle.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Mentalist, and they're just so
Mhm.
adorable. And uh, I don't want to give it away, but they finally get together as a couple, and so now they're planning their marriage, and it's just you know, it's so cute,
Right.
and but it's also very clever, and they're solving crime, which is and
Yeah.
characters are all really strong, and it's a close. What it reminds me of is that which I'm grateful for through all of what's been going on is the thing that I've noticed that I'm looking at through a positive lens of California specifically is it feels like there's some community involvement going on and some people caring about each other at a level that usually isn't present in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so. I mean, I see it small things here and there. Um, I hope so for, the Altadena area. That's what I really hope for them.
Right. Yeah.
Um, it's a tough time. And there's a lot of people that are just emotionally spent.
Yeah.
Most of us we're at our limit of intake of, discord basically. Um, so it might, that's why I'm saying like it, you have to have a positive outlet.
There's some simple things to do, right? being grateful for what you have. That was helpful to me, being grateful and not compare, right? Because comparison is the thief of joy. But just be grateful for what you have. Not that it's easy to go, well, at least I have my home. I might not have electricity, but and then it was hard for me like to not feel guilty about that I didn't get evacuated. And like it was a really that word, that F word,
Yeah.
right? Um, and so I really worked hard at turning to the positive and um, using affirmations and reminding myself that I'm safe and protected right now. And being in the moment is one of the
Mhm.
key things that I found, right? When I start tripping out about, am I ever going to have power again? Is that fire going to get like,
Right.
when
You got
you're
to stay right where you are.
physically or mentally packing bags to
Right.
evacuate your home, that's a whole nother level of trauma that is you can't just flick a switch, right? You have to
Right.
take some sort of contrary action,
Yes.
and know that for right now, you're okay. Right now, right
Absolutely.
here, right? That was the other thing that came out of my session with Cheryl. Like, right now is the perfect time,
Absolutely. It's the
in
only time.
spite of all of it, right? Perfect timing.
Mhm. It's the
Yeah.
only time.
It's the
Only time.
right now is the only time.
There's no other time. Right
That
now
time that
is
I
the
said
time.
right now is in the past already.
Absolutely. And
That's
that's a
what's silly.
crazy, yeah, it's crazy to really think about it that way. But, if you can stay in the present moment, you can stay grateful and, you know, um, really kind of just emotionally take in more positives of any kind, whether it's music, whether it's, dance or comedy or whatever can lift you up a
Yeah.
little bit and kind of, push away the negatives that are swirling around out in the news and the media and all of that. It's just not that healthy for anyone. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, you know, I, it's not going to be like this forever.
So there's always going to be some sort of trauma going on. So this is interesting that you say that,
Hmm.
because it I
Will
don't know,
change.
based on what's going on in our section of the world right now, and everything with Canada and Mexico, and all the tariffs and all of that, right? So like I know what's going on in the world. I'm just not obsessively watching 6 hours of news and
Right.
programming my brain to think that the world is ending. Who cares anyways? That not helping anybody, not me at least. So I'll just speak for me, right? I cannot. I'm just way this is one thing that I learned from HMI that I wasn't really aware of, because you're not really aware of something until someone brings it to your attention or you learn about it and you're like, ding, like holy
Right.
crap, I'm suggestible.
Right.
I'm like
Right.
hyper suggestible to everyone all the time. And I have to be really mindful about who I let in,
Yes.
and who
Yeah.
includes the media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So like if you scrolled my TikTok, you'd see that like the algorithm thinks all I care about is manifestation videos, because that's what I've been focusing on, right? Coming into 2025, and I kicked off the year on a good foot, and I had some momentum,
Everybody
and then
did.
wham,
Hmm.
whole world turned upside down.
It
And I
did.
was obsessively checking an app to see if I was going to have to evacuate or not. It just
Yeah.
feels weird not checking watch duty. Like I was
That's how
thinking we should
quickly a
check it right
habit
now live
forms,
on the
right?
episode to see what's going on. But like I'm happy to report that all the fires are 100% contained.
Yes. But
Although
interesting
yeah,
how quickly that habit formed.
pretty quick, right? Which to me is, I'm always looking for the good news, the positive, right? I'm trying to find the positive because I'll latch on to that negative, and that's
Right.
dangerous for me, right? That's just I know my personality. Like I will
Right.
just dive right down into those deep, murky, dark waters and I'll see you later, you know? So yeah, turn into the positive, turn into the lighthearted, whatever you got to find what works for you because the same thing that works for you doesn't work for me. And, you know, there's some
Mm-hmm.
collective things, right? Can we all agree that like if you move your body, you can change your mind about
Yes.
anything. Like I literally, after my session with Cheryl, I've got a couple of songs queued up on my phone. So like if I need to get a little going in the morning, like I've got right now by Van
Mm-hmm.
Halen, right now by what's that band? The other one that those boys from the 80s? Right here, right now, Jesus Jones. And then there's one other one. Oh yeah, because I like to move my body. Right. That I've actually been programming myself
Mm-hmm.
as one of my affirmations. So I do this, I've been doing this 369 Tesla manifestation method, right? So 6 times a day, I'm writing these three key affirmations 3 times. So that's the three, the six, and the nine all together now. Woohoo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already working.
Yes.
I've been telling myself that I like to move my body and eat healthy.
Yes.
And now some would say, well, you know, if you don't, and you're saying that is like, I forget who I was talking to about this whole fake it till you make it concept. Like there's some different opinions on that. It's not as simple as, oh no, it's a great technique. Act as if, and then you'll call it in bullshit. Right? If you don't
Yes.
believe it, it's got to be believable.
Right. Well, if you're
Been an athlete my
actually
whole
faking
life, so
it
I
to make it,
connect. Huh?
if you're actually faking it to make it, you have to actually believe it. It can't be for pretend.
And this other thing that came up, so I'm doing another practice hour builders power hour on Wednesday, and they want me to talk about imposter syndrome. And I brought this up with Cheryl, and she's like, hold on. And she like put her authority foot down and she's like, let's be clear, you're the furthest thing from an imposter. You're the most authentic person that I think I've ever met. So don't you dare. And I'm like, no, 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 Cheryl, this is a conversation. She got all mother hen on me. It was freaking
Mm,
awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, so like if you're lying and pretending, like I think the spirit of that statement, the fake it till you make it, is you just keep going through the reprogramming of the negative messages that you've been living off of, which
Hmm.
is, you know, I'm fat and lazy, as an example, right?
Hmm.
Oh, I always, oh, one diet after another, all that negative
Right.
press to
Right.
your mind
Hmm.
gets down into the subconscious and becomes real. And that's
Yeah.
so you can if you can do it in the negative sense, that means you can do it in the positive, but it has to be followed with positive action. You have to actually participate, at least for me. I can't
Hmm.
just say words and not do anything.
Yeah. No, you actually have to make movement.
I
Like I
like to
know,
move it, move it. That's the other one.
yeah,
You
you have to make
just picture me
movement.
out in my neighborhood, like speed walking to, I'm like almost ready to start running at this point because I'm like, yeah,
You could sprint it for 15 seconds and then
if I'm going to sprint, I'm going to start sprinting on my treadmill where it's nice and safe. Like my dad tripped when he was much older than how old I am now, but like my dad tripped. My dad used to move his body a lot and even into his old age. And he tripped over a crack in the sidewalk, fell down and cracked his kneecap in half and had this horrible surgery he was laid up forever. And I was like, that's the last thing I'm inviting into my existence is getting hurt. So I have to be mindful of, even though it's a pretty flat surface that I'm walking
yeah,
along. And then, you know, walking is the new running. I don't know if you heard that.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard. Yeah.
I welcome that because I've never been a runner. I mean, I've run. I mean, I ran a lot when I played sports.
Yeah.
I've been in a race before. Like I used to run as a kid. Sure, loved it. But running on purpose for miles and miles and miles is not my thing.
But yeah, it's physically not that. It's really hard on the body.
Exactly. Especially if you're a little overweight and you know that, and you're running on concrete. That's the other thing. Um,
Every time you step down on concrete and you're running, it's 5 times your body weight.
yeah. So that's not good.
Oh,
So I'll take the softness of the landing of my wonderful Peloton tread over the
there you
concrete.
go.
But speed walking, though,
Hmm.
so God bless my Apple Watch, right? It tells me if I'm moderate or
Hmm.
mild or hard, and as
Right.
far as like working out. And the speed walking, actually, when I'm move it, right? I'm like pumping my arms. I'm doing like all of this information about how to exercise is up here and down here,
Hmm.
and it feels good.
Hmm.
Like it's only been 3 weeks since I started this new regime. If we're being, yeah, those 3 weeks is just earmarked as the fire event. But
Right.
the whole month of January is when it kicked off. And funny thing happened. Like first of all, they're evolving. The original kind of three have evolved, and then with
Three what? The
Cheryl,
mantras?
the three affirmations. They're not, yeah, I mean, they're technically turning into mantras, and they're part
Okay.
of mantras that I've always had. So they're authentically tied to, like, I'm a money magnet. Money just finds its way to me. It always has. I literally find money.
Absolutely.
And so, but then,
Easily and effortlessly.
yeah, it just comes to me.
Hmm.
Right. So building on that, right, and adding more to it, and then, good old social media, there's people out there that know stuff that we don't. Believe it
Hmm.
or not, we don't know everything from HMI and our amazing education. There are other people that know stuff out there that
There
work,
are.
right? So
Absolutely.
I've always been open.
Yeah. Open to learn more, to do more, open to,
Subtle
yeah.
shifts, changes, and right, and this
Yeah,
whole idea of reprogramming yourself. I'm here to say you can.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
I mean,
choices. It literally is choices.
you can decide to make healthy choices. You can decide to always make healthy choices for yourself. You can decide to, be a money magnet, you know. Money can come to you easily and effortlessly. You can. Absolutely. We're telling you what to say. We're telling you what to write down. That's basically
Yeah,
what we're doing right
another
now. But
big
these,
one that I was using during the fires was I'm safe and protected,
well,
no
I'm
matter
safe,
what.
secure, calm, and
That's one of
protected.
my
Yes.
that's one of my long-term
Yeah.
affirmations that I've used,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
I'm worthy, I deserve love, like all those, you know.
I am enough. I am, you know,
So,
um,
so one of the videos I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but so the whole, I love people that use the negative to catch your attention. I mean, I don't really love them, but I say that
yeah.
tongue in cheek that, stop using I am affirmations. And I'm just like, I'm going to block you. Like, but
Well,
I like
stop
to say
saying,
the hook to get my attention. Done. Check. What do you got? And then, they said that, okay, those are good, but maybe add something like it's easy for me to. I find it easy to attract prosperity, security, and abundance. I kind of like that.
um, yes, some of the words, you can change them around. But you have to state them in a present as if you've already received it, right? Like it is that way. I mean, everybody is saying the same thing, just in different ways. So whatever works for you, please do
Right.
that. But what in that same train of thought, stop saying you have something else. Like I have anxiety instead of this is the same train of thought. So
Yeah.
if you want to change it, you're going to have to really pay attention to what you're saying
This
things in the positive state, right? Good.
this is the importance of having somebody to work with who can help
Absolutely.
you figure out what your language is, because most people aren't aware. Because
No.
guess what? You're running on an auto program.
Mhm.
You've pressed play and then you've just set it and forget it. And it's just looping over and over and over. And then you wonder why you can't exercise the 10% of your brain that's responsible for willpower when
Patterns.
90% has been programmed to do X and you want to do Y.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will go and try and find all the information on Google or whatever. The problem is that you don't have a mirror to look at. Like when you self-diagnose yourself, isn't always the smartest choice. You don't really have perspective. You have information, but not perspective.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
that's why you would want to go and talk to somebody to help you find out what words you're actually saying. Because how many times have you said something and then somebody repeated it back to you and you went, I said that? I didn't say that. It happens all the time. All the time. People don't realize what they're actually saying.
Yeah. If you're on the path of self-discovery, I have had moments where I'm like, I've said something to my, I still remember, which led me to getting that book by Shad Helmstetter, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself,
Hmm.
because I think I've told this on the an episode before, but like I called myself a name, a nasty name about forgetting something back in the apartment because that would cause me to go back up this really slow elevator, and it was just going to mess up my timeline of get to the gym, work out, get back, get dressed, and go to work. Right. And so
Hmm.
now I'm effing idiot because I forgot something as simple as another 2 minutes. And I'm like, I would never let you say that to me. But there I am talking crap to myself.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. But it's more than that. Like, think about the people that, um, you're saying that about an action. But what about the people that say, "Oh, I can never get it right," or I can't do this because I have X, Y, and Z." What are you telling yourself?
Well, I will speak in defense of those people, having been one, that you think you're kind of rationalizing or explaining the excuse. I'm using air quotes, those of you on Apple and Spotify.
Mm.
You're explaining, which is really another lame word for making excuses for your lack of
Mm-hmm.
action in the way that
Right.
you want to be. So you focus on and keep repeating the way that you
Hmm.
are. And so you stay there.
Right.
It's like flooring
So,
it when you're stuck in mud. It does not work, man. Just go worse. It goes deeper.
hmm, hmm. I mean, it really speaks to the issue of like capability and confidence and self-assurance. Like those markers are huge, but when we are constantly giving reasons why you can't, that's what you're saying to the rest of us, like, oh, you're not very confident. You're not very self-assured.
Right.
It's not like there's a boulder outside your door and you can't get past it. That's not what we're talking about. You're the boulder.
Yeah.
Just saying. So find other ways to stay in the positive because those things will continue to put you in that same state of negative. And we don't need to be there right now. We do not need, nobody needs to be in that state right now. Things are way too heightened.
It's way too easy too to stay in the negative.
Mhm.
I've got a
It's easy to stay in the
beloved
positive too.
I've got a beloved member of my family circle, my blood circle, who is like um, purposely posting positive stuff to offset the political stuff they're posting because they know that it's not positive. It's
Right,
ugly, right?
right,
Um,
right.
but I appreciate that there's the effort to even the scales at least.
Even the scales, I'm okay with that one too. That's better than completely negative. I mean, I think was it Friday? One of the days I sat in traffic for 2 hours. I then fell into on purpose on my Instagram doom of funny videos.
Uh-huh.
Like what?
Instagram Zoom? What the hell is that?
No, doom, I said.
Oh,
The
oh,
doom
Doom. I'm
scroll.
like, is this a function that I don't know about?
No, no, my doom scrolling of, I was
Yes,
trying to find funny
yes, the
videos of
beloved Doom
people,
scrolling.
but I doom scrolled with something funny because I needed to laugh. It
Yeah,
was too
I
much
don't
going
think that's a
on.
scroll at all. I think that's positive
Right. I was just
thing
looking for
of
something
the mind.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
watching somebody try on clothes that they shouldn't try on. Like it doesn't matter. It
Like
doesn't
those
matter. It was
videos with the cats where somebody puts a zucchini near them and they jump,
yes,
or like
yes,
the laser point. Like who can't
whatever.
watch those and just lighten up?
Yeah,
Try
yeah.
it. I dare you.
Find something funny to doom scroll with
Yeah.
and see if it doesn't at least help alleviate some of the tension. Because if you're going to scroll and you're going to be on your phone, at least make it work for you.
Yeah.
Do something positive with it. And that if that is, you know, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. I just had enough and I just sat for like an hour looking at these stupid videos, laughing hysterically because there was nothing funny going on anywhere. So that pressure starts to push down on everybody. And of course, it's going to come out road rage and people are mean and they're pushy and all the negatives start happening. That's what we
Yeah.
don't want. So that's how, you could alleviate some of that, you know.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
had an idea just pop up.
go ahead. Go.
Did you have another
No, no.
thought you wanted to say? Okay. I have a challenge for our
Okay.
listeners.
Okay. What
An
is your challenge?
invitation, if you will. Think of something you'd like to change about yourself. Take an inventory of how you're currently talking about it to yourself and others out loud. And then what would you prefer that you say or have be said about you in regards to X? And
Mm-hmm.
then focus on that. And you don't even have to go so far as to what I'm doing, which is like, Cheryl was so happy to hear that I was physically writing out these affirmations because when I do the mental bank, it's online, it's like on my
Mm-hmm.
phone. And it's like I
Mm-hmm.
have just a drop down and you choose them. And she acquiesced. It was such a nice little fun moment for me to have our hero say, but some would say that that is the muscle memory when you're auto the ideomotor when you're using your thumbs to type and is not the same as writing physically
Mm-hmm.
like this,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's still an ideomotor. So,
It is.
but here's the thought because I feel like I wanted to invite people to try it,
Challenge.
challenge, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
invitation to change
Mm-hmm.
in the
Find
spirit
one
of
thing.
you can change. You have to exercise that 10% of your mind that is in charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to we've talked about this. You use that lovely word that I love from 12 step program, right? You have to take an inventory,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
The
what
way
is
you're
it that you
talking
would like
about the
to
one thing.
change? Huh?
So you're going to take an inventory about the one thing,
One,
the way you're
one
talking about the
thing, yeah.
one
So let's
thing.
not be one of our typical clients who's comes in with seven things that the laundry list of things that they'd like to work on. Okay, well, hang on, that's not how it works. But where would you like to start with? What's the most important to you right now?
Mm-hmm.
Not high school or your married, like now. What's most affecting you right now? Let's start
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would invite you and our listeners to what is the one thing that you'd like to change?
Mm-hmm.
And then be honest with yourself about how you speak that into
About that
existence
thing.
on
Mm-hmm.
a daily basis.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
if that's hard to do, then you might have an honesty process that you might want to look at with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying you have to post it online. It can be private. This is a
Write it down.
therapeutic approach to self-help, okay?
Right.
Um, and
You can
then
write it down. Just
Write
so
it
you know,
down.
you don't
Absolutely. Right.
post. Yeah,
Take the
write it down.
inventory in pen and paper. Absolutely. I'm
Mhm.
okay if you want to use an Apple Note or whatever Samsung people use. I don't know what the hell they use. Like, I'm sure there's something. Don't know.
I don't know.
I
I
don't either.
don't
I'm
know.
being,
At a loss
anyway,
there.
so what's the one thing that you'd really like to change about yourself? It could be as simple as the way that you think about things and how you have a negative slant towards everything. Okay, well,
Mhm.
I mean, that might require some some therapy and some deeper
Right.
looking. But if you take an inventory of how you're speaking it into existence today, then come up with how you'd like to speak about it and what you would like instead. One of my favorite things to do with clients, which is like, okay, so this is how you're reacting when this happens. What if you had a magic wand? How would you like to how would you prefer to react or respond to that same stimuli if you could? If you had the power to do that, how would you like to? Go ahead.
Right. So here's the additional information. It's not just for you can't see him, but he's laughing. Um, the additional information would be it's not what you're saying out loud only. It's the way you're
Fair,
thinking
fair,
about
fair
it.
caveat, fair asterisks after the, yeah. But it
Because
starts there,
just just because you're not saying it out loud doesn't mean you don't A have that voice in your head or B have those
right?
thoughts. So when you're taking that inventory, you have to be really honest about what's going on in your head
Yeah,
and what's coming out your mouth.
right. They're usually in unison. Usually. Rarely are you thinking one thing and saying another. Unless you know how to practice the power of the pause and then you have some ability to kind of like deregulate in the moment, take a breath maybe, and come out of fight or flight and have a response instead of a reaction. But
Right.
usually the thought and the mouth kind of line up.
Usually, usually.
I was speaking to the usual people.
I'm just saying, usually they do line up. But being honest with yourself is something else, right?
Absolutely. That is the bigger issue at play here. Yes.
So be honest with yourself. Pick the one thing, be honest with yourself, pay attention to what you're thinking and what you're saying about yourself.
Oh my God. So, you know how I told you. So, Tina and I, it's so funny when we talk in between episodes, like in real life, I'm like, okay, did I already talk about this with you on a podcast? And I had this brilliant thought. I have to write it down so I don't forget it again. I had this brilliant thought about a topic I don't want to reread the book because it's a very statistical type of approach. The book's called Good to Great. And I read it when I was in corporate America. And the reason it keeps coming up for me is the first tenement that they say to go from good to great is you have to take a cold, hard look at the truth.
Yeah.
It all starts with what is real? What do I
Right.
really think about myself? What
Yeah.
do I really believe that I think about myself and that I think others think about me? Because I will
Mhm.
guarantee you that your view of what others think of you is absolutely skewed,
Absolutely.
100% skewed.
That's why I'm saying, right. This is why I say if you are diagnosing yourself, your opinion of you is skewed. You don't see what you really look like. You never really see what other people see. You don't know what you look like. You see yourself worse than what you are. That's been proven. Um, you're absolutely skewed. So if those are the physical attributes, emotionally is going to be just as in line with that.
Yeah.
So
So this
absolutely.
work that I'm suggesting is would be that much um, easier with someone like Tina and myself, such as a professional that knows how to guide you through this process in a therapeutic setting.
Absolutely.
And the power of hypnosis to then feed you back in that deep, relaxed state called hypnosis, where your mind is open to new ideas, thoughts, and ways of living and doing.
Mhm.
And so feeding back to you that which you would like to have instead of what you currently have is the power of this thing we call the hypnosis, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
There you
mean,
go.
they absolutely, if you're overloaded, stressed out, don't know which way to turn in this crazy world that we're living in right now, find a hypnotherapist.
I would start
Um,
with you or I if I was recommending people.
of course, but I'm open. I
Yeah.
mean, there are others like, but you should call me or Don. It'd be
Yeah.
good.
I'll put our
Um,
contact information in the show notes like I usually do. Yeah.
yeah, but
So
seriously, the
challenge
amount of
accepted.
relief, challenge is always accepted.
All right. I would like if you have made it all the way through this last hour with us, I'd like to hear from you in the comments. Just a simple accepted
Yeah, just
with a
simply
dash
accept.
help, and one of us will reach out to you if you'd like some help. We both
Absolutely.
have contact information on our websites and contact forms and, completely anonymous if you don't want to publicly on YouTube or any of the other streaming services that we have our podcasts. If you don't want to
Hmm.
publicly put yourself out there as someone asking for help, you can privately reach out to us.
Message. Hmm.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, find the thing that you want that you don't like, figure out how you're talking to yourself about it, what you're saying, and get a hold of a hypnotherapist.
There you go.
One of us. Give us a call. We'll help you out.
Yeah. And by the way, it's been a while, but like, feel free to like, follow, or subscribe to our channel.
Hmm. Hit the
Yeah.
subscribe button.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Don figured out how to put a little floating icon up at the end. It's called an end cap.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know I was going to turn into like a video engineer doing this podcast, but
Isn't it amazing what we have to learn?
I got to learn that. Yeah. It didn't take very long. I just had to put some time into it of paying attention and taking notes. And yeah, so there's a little end cap at the end of the video
Hmm.
that you can click on. It's our little icon of the person's brain in the
Hmm.
purple and green. And you
Yeah,
can just subscribe really easy that way. Or and then,
absolutely.
oh yeah, don't forget to hit the bell so you can be alerted as to when we post episodes, which
Hmm.
probably not going to be till tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
Just
okay.
be prepared, you Sunday night people who are just waiting to have the episode drop. Yeah.
Well, next week. Um, yeah. And there's always social media. You can find us on social media,
Yeah.
not just on YouTube or Apple or Spotify. There's Instagram.
Yeah. Our actual in the show notes, there is a link tree that brings you to all of our socials and the ways to contact us.
Hmm. So contact us. Challenge
You're
accepted.
invited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. Want to close
Stay
us out?
safe. Stay safe.
Stay
Stay
safe.
calm. Stay positive.
Keep calm and be positive
There you go.
and carry on.
Our subconscious speaks. The question is, are you listening?
I know I am. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Tina. Love ya.
Happy bunches.
Bye.